Here they come piling in. Love it.
Outstanding.
People up and at it this Monday morning.
Oh,
Oh no, now I can't see everyone. All I see is me. I'm sorry, guys. You have to
yeah.
look at my face. All right.
It's all about you, Matt.
Yeah. All right, guys. So welcome to Top Agent Nation. We are here to do a mastermind with you this morning. And so to get the most out of this, the more interaction you can input, the better. And so first and foremost, I would love for you to be present for this meeting. And I don't know about you guys, but I would not show up to a meeting with the black trash bag over my head. And so if your camera isn't on, let's please see your pretty faces this morning so we can get interaction. Second, I'm going to call on a couple of you. Let me just scroll through. Before we do our introductions, we have some amazing guests we'll get to, but I'm going to call on a couple of you. Let's see. We got some people still jumping in. Man, we still got a lot of no cameras. Come on, guys. Let's turn your cameras on. Let's see. Debbie, you laughed at my joke, so you win a prize. Debbie Chop, what is
Good
something?
morning.
Good morning. What is something that we could help you through today? What is a topic you would like for us to discuss? What's a question, a problem you have in your business that we can work through with you?
I think I'm looking just for a group of positive people. What problems? It's good to be us, Matt. So I'm trying to put myself in a position of positivity and hopefulness and professionalism, and that's why I'm here.
I love it. I love it. We are solutions focused here, so absolutely love that. I love it. Awesome. Thank you, Debbie. Debbie, where are you from?
Well, I work with the amazing Jeff Willems, so I am in Tucson, Arizona.
Lucky girl. Lucky girl. I see Jeff's on here too. What's up, Jeff?
Hey, buddy. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man.
And by the way, Debbie is a complete rock star. Love her.
Awesome. I see Big Mike on here. Big Mike, what's up, dude?
Man, nothing but blessed. I appreciate all the messages, Matt. My business fucking exploded. And I mean to say it just like that because I cannot explain. Glory to God, man.
I love it, dude. What you and I talk privately. So maybe other people can learn from your progress. I'm trying to get some questions and topics for today's call and also future calls. So what was some of the struggles that you were having? What are some of the questions that you and I discussed?
Man, it wasn't so much what we discussed. It was things that I already knew that I needed to be done that I tried avoiding at all costs. The magic is in the work that you avoid. And man, my God-given talent is my ability to speak to others. And for every ounce of me in the entire world, do I hate making phone calls. I hate bothering people. I hate cold calling. I hate calling up my leads. Definitely when they don't know I'm calling. What did I do? Pounded the phone, and dude, I blessed. Like I have a fat pipeline right now, and Monday's already looking to be a very busy week for me already.
I love it. Love it. Love it. Good stuff, man. Well, I love it. I love that you reached out. We had a great conversation. I love to see you get momentum. It's crazy what happens when you just have that consistency. Really good stuff. I see Robert Smith. Robert, what's up, man?
What's going on? Just having a great Monday so far.
Robert, I know you enough, and I know that you've got questions. So what's a question that we could have as a topic today to help you work through in your business?
Question.
What's something you're working through right now? What's something you're stuck on? What's something that we can help you through?
How about not overanalyzing? How about taking action and figuring it out as you go?
I love it. Cool. All right. Well, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Thanks, Robert. Appreciate that. Guys, if you have questions throughout when we're talking, I'm going to introduce these rock star guests. They're amazing. And we're going to tell a little bit about their story and let them unpack their genius. But we do this for you. And so please, in the chat, if you have a question, raise your hand. The more interactive this is, the better it is. And so we do these for you. Please help us help you. So if you have questions throughout, raise your hand, type something in the chat. Again, we want this to be interactive. So let me introduce our guest for today. Who are we going to start with? First, let's start with Grant Johnson. Oh, there we go.
Hello.
I've got a slide and everything. What's up, Grant?
How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. So
Good.
Grant is from Twin Cities, which I found out today is actually in Minneapolis.
Yep.
So Grant's been in
Minneapolis, St.
for
Paul.
about 20 years. Grant and I've had a couple private calls. He's a genius, and I'm super excited to learn from him today. Grant, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I've been in real estate for what, almost 25 years. We have a team in Minneapolis, St. Paul. We broke 50 agents this year. We're at 56 right now.
Nice.
When we came to EXP 3 years ago, we were at 12 agents. And back then we were doing about 125 homes a year. And this year we might hit 500, but I think we'll be somewhere in the mid fours.
Mid fours, man. That's a lot. It's good
Yeah,
stuff.
it's been fun. As soon as I took myself out of the equation of running everything, it really improved.
Awesome. Cool, man. We'll unpack that a little later. Thank you, Grant. All right. And next we have Mike Gerbic. Mike needs no introduction. I think everybody knows who Mike is.
Come on.
Mike, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I am I guess what they call the OGs. I'm just an old guy sitting around here. I've just been around for a while, right? So I got started pre-internet and kind of grew up in the business with the internet. So got to be on the bleeding edge of everything like pay per click, which nobody knew what it was because we were getting like 5-cent clicks back in 2002. So it's a little different now, but no, it's good stuff. Yeah, grew up in the business. Basically got in 1994, failed the first time, got back in kind of full time in 2002. And so really from that, it's just been a rocket ship ride for me personally. A lot of great lessons along the way. Built one of the top 10 teams in the United States. Grew it to be a multi-office company. Sold it in 2017 and moved to Puerto Rico. And so I've been basically a business coach for real estate teams ever since. And that's really my passion, is just helping people grow and get unstuck. So
Love it. Love it. Top 10 team in the nation. I think he's got something that we can learn from today. Thank you, Mike.
Yep.
Next, we have Jason. Jason, welcome to the show. You and I actually met for the first time today. I love the title championship belts behind you, man. I need to improve my backdrop. I need some of those. So Jason, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hey, it's all about becoming a champion. That's why we have these title belts, and that's the mindset that we bring. I've been in the business almost 10 years now, about 51 agents in my organization as a whole. And man, we're just doing some fun things here out in Indiana and making sure that giving back to realtors is key, whether it's doing videos like this, whether it's in-person events, positivity, bringing energy. Let's go, you guys. So I'm all about it. Love doing business, love helping my buyers and sellers as well with tips and tricks. So Matt, I'm just happy to be here, ready to dig in and help everyone else on this call today.
I love it. Me too, man. I love it. We got a powerhouse lineup for you guys today. I told you these guys are rock stars. Before we go into the questions and the topics that these guys are going to break down for you, I was reminded that I haven't introduced myself the last 3 times I've hosted. So some of you that don't know who I am, my name is Matt Smith. I'm a team leader, run the #1 team in the state of Missouri. Our team will do about 800 transactions this year. I'm also a coach for John Cheplack and his organization, and just blessed to be here in the room. I'm a lifelong learner and can't wait to learn from you guys today. So I like to dive in with relevant topics. And so where I'd like to start, and Grant, we'll start with you. You're running a team, a very high-powered team. What are you guys doing right now today that is working in your business that other people can learn from?
Truthfully, Matt, we took a super simple approach about 1.5 years ago. It was called put your head down and go to work. Mike taught me a lot, by the way. I coached with Mike for a long time. He's taught me a ton. But we really were trying to chase every little squirrel out there for so long. It's not a lead generation issue. It's nothing like that. It tends to be, what did Big Mike say? Get to work, basically. Yep. It was about 1.5 years, 2 years ago, we finally said, enough's enough. Let's actually go to work and sell some homes. And so there's no magic. It's just get to work, get to the office, make your calls. Funny thing is, like Zillow Flex, answer your phone would be really nice. It's not that hard, So I can't tell you there's a magic. We just sat down and went to work.
So what does that work? Let's unpack that. So it's easy to say got to work. What does that work look like? Like, what did you coach your agents through? What did you see your agents doing that had massive success? What does it look like?
We went to the minimum of 22-minute, and I learned this from you, Matt, 2-minute conversations per day or per week, sorry. So to actually get them on the follow-up, we were struggling. If you went through our database, you'd be amazed how many leads we had that nobody ever touched.
Yep.
And so we started implementing, if you want our leads, if you want to follow our systems, basically it's 22-minute conversations per week. And our conversion has gone up. And it's really just been holding them accountable. I told you earlier when I took myself out of the equation, because maybe I'm not the best at holding people accountable, and maybe somebody on our team is better at it, and they're doing it now. It's made a world of difference. But we followed that simple formula that I think I talked to you, probably a year ago on that.
Yeah.
And we did that. And it's just made a world of difference. 22-minute conversations a week.
It's so funny, man, because simple scales, right?
Yeah.
Too many of us chase the shiny object and we try to find this next magic bullet or magic lead source. But it's I think it's from Hormozy. It's your output or your outputs equals inputs or inputs equals outputs, whatever it is, right? You got to do the work to get the result. And I think too many times we try to get around doing the work. And so to me, that work is we're in a people business. You got to get face to face or belly button to belly button with buyers and sellers. How can you do that? Let's move the needle and have conversations. So I absolutely love it. Mike, what are you seeing from your seat? What are you seeing that is working right now in today's business?
I'm going to stay about a 30,000 foot view here for just a second. So I think the biggest issue I see with agents and teams is their lack of emotional mastery. Right? They're too focused on the outcome. So I have a little saying, I didn't make it up. I stole it from someone else. Can't give them credit. I don't know who they were, but somewhere along the way, I learned that if you just let go of the outcome, you'll create more income.
Yep.
So I've just tried to drill that in my agent's head, let go of the outcome, create more income. And so when you start getting out of fear and you get into service, then it's all about helping people. Now, when you realize that it's their fears that are preventing them from taking action and they're looking for certainty, and we all know from Tony Robbins, the person with the most certainty influences the other. So they're either influencing you or the market's influencing you, or you're influencing the market and your clients. Which side of that do you want to be on? And so I think it's imperative that we take a leadership role. Too many, I think, agents get pulled around like a dog on a leash by their clients, just hoping to be there when the sale happens instead of leading them through a process to that ends up in a transaction. And it's sad, but I see that fear just being a huge handicap for agents. So if we can not be a master of the short game and a failure at the long game, but just play the long game, work for the relationships, be an expert, know your market data inside and out, list of sales price ratios, absorption rates, the days on market, all that kind of stuff, and know how that breaks down per price range. So when you're coaching somebody, whether it's a buyer or a seller, you can articulate how that your expertise is going to help them in that transaction. If you're worried about somebody signing a buyer agency with you, you shouldn't be. Because if you can demonstrate expertise, they will follow you anywhere because you have more certainty and understanding and can explain it to them. So to me, it's I would rather not give you the tactical because 90% of the people, nobody on this call wouldn't do it anyway. Right? But the mindset about it, show up, be a leader, be an expert in the market, and don't lead from fear. Lead from a point of strength. So
I love it, Mike. That reminds me of something that I've coached, and I may have got it for you. I don't know. I learn from everyone, and it's that I used to tell my team when I first formed my team back in 2016 that we don't sell people, we help people. People don't need to be sold; they need to be helped. And so, anytime you would use the word sell, replace it with help. And that's just that was a message consistently in our organization for years. About a year ago, I changed that. I said, people still don't need to be sold, but people don't even need our help in today's marketplace. They need us to lead them, be the leader that they need. The Buyers and sellers, our communities that we serve need to be led. And so it needs to be that leader mentality is so huge. I want to go back to something that Grant said too, because I know that's from a team leader perspective and Mike's is from a coach perspective. But whether you're a team leader, whether you're an individual agent, whether you're an agent on a team, whether you run your own brokerage, it doesn't matter. These same principles apply. And so let's take Grant's 20 conversations. Now, Grant is going to hold his agents accountable to that. But his agents are the ones seeing the results from that because they are doing it. And so if you can hold yourself accountable to whatever that activity is, I think that it makes so much, it's the momentum. Like Mike said, play the long game. There's a term that I use, and I learned this from Andy Frisella. I call it aggressive patience.
Ooh.
So you have to be patient because you don't get results overnight, but you've got to do the work consistently. Like an analogy that I use is like everyone's been on a health journey before, right? You try to lose weight, get healthier, whatever that looks like. You don't just eat healthy for one day or you work out for 30 minutes and now you have six pack. It's a process, right? And so what they say is it takes 90 days for other people to see your results and your health and fitness journey. Guess what? It's the same thing for real estate business. So do the work every day for 90 days before you pick your head up. I see too many agents, both in my organization and agents that I coach, do it for a week and say, well, Mike, that doesn't work. Grant, that doesn't work. Jason, that doesn't work. I did it for a week. But you got to do it for 90 days with no expectation of return. And then that momentum that you create in your business, I'm telling you, you won't recognize your business. You just got to stay consistent and you got to forget about the outcome. I love it. Good stuff, Mike. Jason, what about you? What are you seeing that's working right now?
You know, guys, I think to tie everybody together, what all three of you just said, it's all about mindset. Get your mind straight every morning as you're coming into work, or do it the night before and say, hey, this is what I've got to do. Staying that consistent that you said, Matt, is absolutely huge. I love the analogy of the workout because, yeah, you can't go and, oh, yeah, I did 10 reps and, oh, I'm strong as I'll get up. That doesn't work that way. So push yourself to be consistent. What I've been doing, and I've also been coaching this as well, take out your cell phone and start dialing everybody in there. Call 100 people a day, 200 people a day. Ask them if they have a business, a building, or a house to sell. And it's going to be a little bit different sounding, right? Who has a business to sell? So then when I've done that, people have literally stopped and listened because it's different conversation. So now I've got their attention. I'm holding my hand up like I'm on the phone because that's what I'm doing. I'm calling them. I'm not texting them. I'm not emailing them. I'm calling them. If I'm not in person, I got to call them. But have that physical conversation with them, ask them. And then if they're a friend, if they're your sphere, they probably already say, oh, you can do it, Jason. I'll be like, all right, cool. Thank you for that. But I've got a goal. By the end of October, I need to sell 10 homes. Who do you know that has a business, a building, or a house to sell or buy? I need to get in touch with them ASAP. Now you're putting that out there. And when you put it into the atmosphere, things are going to happen, you guys. And when you start telling your friends, your family, your neighbors, your colleagues, I've got to sell 10 homes by the end of September, or by the end of October, whatever your time frame is, it's going to happen. You're manifesting it. And it's going to come together. So that's been a huge piece for me. That's turned my business around this year. I hit a real big dead spot earlier on this year. My head was totally wrong, went sideways. And that's where I'm just a believer of mindset.
I love it. I love it. Everything starts with mindset, right? If you get your mindset right, the rest of the stuff follows. So I love that. I want to unpack something that as I was processing, we talked about fear. We talked about fear in the marketplace, and I want to turn to the audience here. So superstar guest, hold off. Let's get some questions from the audience, get some interaction. What are you guys scared of right now in the marketplace? What is the fear that is holding you back? Put it in the chat. What is the fear that is holding you back? What is the fear that's holding your agents back? What is the fear in the marketplace? What is the fear from the buyers or the sellers? There's a lot of fear right now that Mike helped us with the psychology of how to work through that fear. But I really want to unpack that really in depth with you guys to get you some value. So put that in the chat. What is the fear that you are experiencing right now in your business? And I'm just going to be honest, guys. we're doing this to help you. If you can't think of what you're fearful for, you're not going to get out of this what you hope to get out. So please get out of your comfort zone, get over your own fear, and type a question in the chat so we can help you. We are doing this from the bottom of our hearts to help you. Help us help you. Thank you. We got a couple of them coming in. There we go. All right. So we got rejection, commission discussion. Ooh, that's a big one. Fear of consistency, competing with agents in my market more than 20 plus. Oh, that's a good one. New MLS rules. Thank you guys for participating. Now we can actually have a mastermind. Thank you so much. There we go. All right. So really good stuff. I love it. Love it. So now let's unpack fear.
There you go.
Mike, you started this conversation on fear.
Yeah.
How are you coaching people through the fear in the marketplace? All of these great topics we have and other things that you've experienced. How are you coaching people through whatever that fear may be?
If you're talking about clients
Clients or
like,
agents, yeah, whichever.
I think having real information to combat whatever fear you have that you're dealing with, I think that's important. So you can't, have a fear that's unsubstantiated. So your brain's going to go to work finding all the reasons why that fear is either valid, right, or it's invalid. So you need to just get yourself a lot of knowledge. So if we're talking about fear of market, fear of, interest rates, fear of economic collapse, I saw somebody say fear of, all these other things. Okay. So what are the data points out there that exist? What are the market reports that I can pull from to show people what happened during every other economic collapse, what happened during every other interest rate hike? Like, here's what's going to happen predictably every time we had a market cycle. Here's what you can expect now. Right. So I think just arming yourself with more information so that you realize that there are plenty of agents that have been through 2, 3, 4 major market cycles, and they still came out the other side standing. Right. So your world isn't going to come to an end. You just may have to adapt and do things a little differently, perhaps. So I think fear around some of the other things like, the MLS rules, the commission discussion. I think the commission discussion is easily combated if you just can articulate your value. The biggest point of that is going to come from being able to educate them on what you know and how you're going to help them through the transaction. Once they realize what you know and the quality of the person they're sitting in front of, there's not going to be a commission issue, because commission only matters in the absence of value. Cost of anything only matters in the absence of value. So do they think you're a commodity like a bunch of bananas, or have you separated yourself as an expert? Experts don't compete on price, ever. If they're competing on price, then you haven't articulated yourself as an expert. I think for me, it's like going back to what I said earlier. That's where we have to start, is like, get your foundation right, understand the market, articulate the market. That will help you articulate your value to them.
I love it, Mike. I literally wrote down the question or the quote that you put: price is only an issue in the absence of value. So it's yeah, I coach that all the time. And I think so many times that we fall a victim of the market. We fall a victim of circumstance. We fall a victim of this one seller, this one buyer, instead of something I believe in is taking personal responsibility. And if I cannot articulate my value for buyers and sellers to pay what I feel I'm worth, I'm probably not worth it.
Yep.
And so this may not be the sexy answer, but this is the real answer, is if you aren't able to articulate it, or if you aren't able to get it, that's some work you need to do on yourself. Come to masterminds like this, get access to our Backstage Pass that has all kinds of resources on how to articulate that value. By the way, the Backstage Pass, you have to get access to that. If you want to access the person that invited you here, that has a lot of these value adds, ask them for access and they can get you access to that. We also got it. I saw they put it in the chat here, so you can go to that link. But the point being is, sometimes we think that we fall victim, right? We're like, well, the market only does this. I'll be very transparent. We have we have a package for our listings that we have charged traditionally more than anyone else in our marketplace, plus a transaction fee for 2.5 years now. No one else does it. We list more properties than anyone else. Why do we do that? Because the value that we provide. So we charge more, we have a transaction fee, and we list more. And so is it really not possible, or we just not took the time to put the value together, to articulate it, to provide that value with ourselves to the marketplace? And I think that's just a conversation that we have to have with ourselves. And again, I want to like acknowledge you for being here. If you were listening to this and you're struggling with that, cool, let's work through that. That's why you're here. But where I don't see the market going is all these agents doing it for way less money. Those are the agents that are going to get out of the business. The ones that are going to win with these changes are the ones that are going to focus on their value, and they're going to articulate at a higher level, and they're probably going to get a pay raise from these changes. Because now the consumer will be transparent on the value you do bring.
Yep.
One other thing that I want to talk about, and I learned this from Damon West. I had him come speak at an event that I did. He wrote a book with John Gordon, Be a Coffee Bean. An amazing story. If you haven't checked it out yet, it's nothing to do with real estate, but just an amazing inspirational speaker. And he said he shared that a lot of people let fear hold them back. He said, but the problem is fear isn't real. Fear's in your head. Fear's thoughts. Fear is there is nothing tangible with fear. You wake up, you're scared with a kid, you're scared with a nightmare. There's nothing real there. Doesn't mean the fear isn't present, but there's no danger. Too many times we as humans mistake fear for danger. Don't let fear hold you back. There's nothing to be afraid of. You can be afraid of danger, but fear isn't real. There's nothing to be afraid of. So on the other side of fear is going to set you free. And so you have to acknowledge that fear. So go through that. I love it. False evidence appearing real. I love that, Jeff.
Hey, Matt, I wanted to mention when you were talking about the value, and I want to challenge people out there because we're all different levels, right? If you've been around the business 30 years or 30 minutes, challenge yourself to write down your value.
Yes.
And like Matt was saying, think about it. Hey, why would a buyer want to work with me? Why would a seller want to work with me? And write that down. Something I did as I was developing myself, I reached out to colleagues like these guys. And I went up to my senior business partners and said, hey, what do you see in me? And that took a lot because, now you're putting yourself out there because now they're going to come at you in a good way, but they're going to say, hey, I see a cheerleader. I see a leader. I see somebody who cares, and it's just like, oh, and it's funny. I said the cheerleader piece because when I first got told cheerleader, I'm thinking rah, 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 sis, boom, blah, right? And I'm like, man, what? But as I diagnosed what a cheerleader truly is, it's somebody that wants to lift others up and do the best that they can for them. And I was like, man, that is me, So it was just that I didn't realize that, but my peers told me that. So reach out to people too, just like this. This is an open space where we could help you. Let's get you on that value piece, so that way you could really present yourself very well with all your clients.
Love it. Really good. Really good.
Matt, there's one thing you said, and that you said that you charge the most in your market. I've been around, I know Mike has too. We've been around this business a long time. I have never seen the lowest price option last in my career, ever. So if everybody's worried about a race to the bottom, I don't believe it's going to happen.
It's the wrong race. Don't participate.
Yeah, please don't. And we've always had the people in our market that'll list your house for $3,000 or whatever, right? They have zero market share. They're not the people you have to worry about. Mike also said something I think we kind of glossed over is know your market, know your stats, know everything that's going on. Every Tuesday at our team meetings, we go through a market update. We know what's going on in every price range. If you can communicate that to the people that you're working with, your clients, they're going to look at you as the expert. You are the expert. And it's going to go to a different level, and you'll be able to keep, we're going to charge 3.5% to every buyer. That's our team policy. And we'll be able to keep that because we know the market.
Love it.
What's the number one question we get as agents out there by the public? So you're in real estate. How's the market? Right? So do you guys have a 30-second elevator pitch that's been, pretty much prepared and you know what to say to it, and it's going to end in a question that asks them more specifically, what market are you referring to?
It's
I go really
I coach people very simple. When I get that, 'cause I did it wrong for so long. So many of these things I've learned is because I've just screwed it up for so long, right? Like I'm not afraid to fail and fail fast and fail often. That's how I learn. And so I think that one of the things when someone asks, how's the market? Anyone else feel like they just panic and they're like, it's good, right? And that's the end of the conversation. Instead of, why don't we answer the question with a question? Hey, Mike, thank you for asking. It depends. Are you a buyer, seller, or investor?
Yep.
Now you can have a conversation about the real estate market specific to what they're looking for. Because doesn't the market, the answer to that question really depend upon which three of those they are?
Depends.
Like,
What property type, what they're planning to do, buy, sell, invest, like you just said, what price point,
yep.
what is it, waterfront homes, or is it suburban subdivisions? It's completely different.
It's just the old tell me more.
Yeah.
Why do you ask? Tell me more.
Well, and I think too, I circled this whenever Mike was talking about the value, right? So I believe value unarticulated is value unappreciated. If you want people to appreciate your value, you got to work a long time building your package, your positioning, your messaging, so you can articulate your value so they can appreciate it. If we've ever, like I asked this in front of a stage. I was speaking at a conference and I asked it in front of a stage and I said, and I was just testing it. And so I'm going to ask here actually. So in the chat, I would like for you guys to answer this. If I were to work with you and I said, I'm getting ready to sell my home, I'm going to use seller for example, because buyer's all this new stuff. But if I was going to, I'm a seller, I'm going to sell my home. You've got 30 seconds. Tell me why I should use you. Go. What do you guys say? What is your reaction? Type in the chat. Why should I sell my home with you?
I got a championship belt.
You got two.
I don't carry it around with me.
Put in the chat, guys. Keep it coming. Steve's been trained. Thanks, Steve. I love that we have educated people here. Let me ask you this, for those of you that haven't participated, this is what I got live in stage. This is what I get all the time when I ask that question. I'm honest. I work really hard. What else you got? Like, shouldn't we be honest to help people with the biggest sale of their life? Shouldn't we work really hard for the amount of money that we're charging? Like that's I sell a lot of real estate. Awesome. But like, that's really where it stops. But I think that's where it should start. And I think you should build your value above that. Make that your baseline. And then your message, when you talk to a seller, what's cool about that is that's your competition. Same thing with a buyer now. We should have always been doing it, but now we're forced to, right? And so now when a buyer says, why should I hire you? Do you know what that is? Do you have those points? Do you have that where you can articulate it? And if you do, and you have this education piece, there is no reason for them to not work with you. You have to be an expert on the market. That's a given, but you also should have value above and beyond that. And so I think it's so crucial. Like, honestly, we have, like Steve put in here, flexible commission. You have flexible commission package, easy exit. You have one of the things that we have is we got exclusive access to our off-market properties, right? Like, what does that package look like? And just come up with the name and package it and position it. And I think that really makes a huge, huge difference.
And yeah, I think the cancel any time for listings is fantastic, but some of you guys haven't really thought this through, but you should add that to your buyer advantage program, VIP buyer program, whatever. If people are worried about signing a buyer agency with you, sign a buyer agency with them that's cancel any time.
Yep.
It lasts for a stinking day if they don't like you. Like,
I'll tell you what, I'll do you one better. I have a cancellation. I have a commitment form that I use in my organization. I'll upload it for you to R&D in the Backstage Pass. It's here. I'm asking you to commit to me. Here's what I'll commit to you. And it also on the back of it has a cancellation guarantee. At any time you can cancel this agreement. So you're signing this and I'm the one taking all the risks, not you. It's risk reversal. So good.
I love it.
Awesome. Guys, I'm going to put it in the chat here. I created this a while back and I just found it as an old document, but I think it's really relevant for this conversation. It's called my 15-hour work week. I have so many agents that are struggling to come to me and say, hey, what can I do? How can I improve? And I ask them, can they work 15 hours a week? And they laugh at me. Well, I work way more than that, but are you actually working? And so I'm putting in the chat now. It's my 15-hour work week. It's 5 things, 5 days a week. Not only, you're not going to just survive, you're going to thrive if you do these things. Number one, what do we talk about? You have to educate yourself on the marketplace. 15 minutes every single day, knowing your numbers, knowing your stats, knowing your market. 15 minutes a day. Huddle with your team or your coach. Public declaration of your commitments. What are you going to actually accomplish today? Do you have a plan for today? What does that plan look like? Did you execute the plan yesterday? Super simple, right? But it helps us get traction and momentum. And then you got to have role play. If you're not practicing with your peers, you're practicing on your clients. They deserve better. 1 hour prospecting, 1 hour follow-up. Pretty simple. But how many of you have actually done that for the last 5 days a week for the last 90 days?
So you're asking people to work part-time, Matt.
That's right. You know what? That's it. Sorry, I'm going to go on a quick tangent. I literally had a conversation with my sales manager last week. She's like, I'm just getting a lot of part-time applicants because we're recruiting. And I said, I love part-time agents if they'll really work. How many agents do we have right now? No disrespect, but they're working part-time.
Yeah.
Are you going to work part-time on the things that matter, that move the needle? Awesome. I'll bring you in all day long. Right? And I think too many times we just work without being productive, and there's a big difference. Cool. Mike, you reminded me of something that is, it's something that I think that you probably will relate with this. I believe that everyone operates on the same radio frequency. So I used to sell radio ads back in the day. And so the radio station starts with W something, right? So the radio frequency that I created for how people operate is WIFM. Every single human being on the planet wants to know what's in it for me.
Yep.
I think too many times when we're articulating this value, when we're educating on the marketplace, we do this feature and benefits dump versus building a relationship, asking great questions, and helping meet them where they are. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, 100%. In fact, I was going to say that it starts with asking questions. You know, everyone says, oh, buyers are liars. No. That's BS. You just suck at asking questions. You don't understand them. Right? If you ask deep enough questions, and I don't mean superficial questions, I mean deep enough questions where you peel back some of the layers of the answers you get. I'll give you a couple examples. You will get to the reason why they're buying and what they would consider or not consider and why. Right? Let's just take bedrooms, for example. Hey, I want a 3-bedroom, 2-bed. Okay, great. 3 bedrooms. Let me just ask, if it only has 2, but it has another bonus room in the back that could be used possibly in an office, but it's not technically a bedroom, would that work for you? Would you, if everything else in the house was perfect, but didn't have a 3rd bedroom, would you even consider it? Do you want to even know about it? If they say yes to that question, then it's a should, not a must, right? So what I need to do is just unpack that deal thing by thing that you're going to put into the computer to spit out a list of houses. I've got to massage that list to death. And in the process, I'm going to understand them very deeply. How will they be using the 3rd bedroom? Why do they need the big yard? Why do they like the island kitchen and all the features that they're telling me that they want? I got to massage that and say, if it had everything else, but it didn't have that, would you want to know about it? And it helps you get the husband and wife. We were joking earlier before the call. It's like gets the husband and wife on the same page, because sometimes they're about going at each other a little bit because they're not on the same page. And I'm happy to sell them 2 houses, but I think they're just trying to buy one.
Let me give you a pro tip there. If you're working with a husband and wife, with most of the time we are, never. I very rarely say never. You never say never always. In this case, I'm saying never. Never communicate with a husband and wife separately. Always together. Group text thread on day 1. And even if only one of them is always responding, they're all on the same thread. I just saved you tens of thousands of dollars in commissions because they're never on the same page. You got to help bring them together.
Well, I think with asking questions, we just have to understand, instead of doing the features and benefit dump, which is essentially a prescription to their problem you don't understand, we have to go through the diagnosis. Right? So if we're the real estate solutions doctor, then I got to diagnose before I prescribe. And so that comes through an understanding. Tell me where it hurts. Tell me what you're wanting to do. Why? Right? Where's the pain? Especially if I can find the pain. We're going to sell much more on the pain side than we are the pleasure side. So find out what's wrong with their current housing situation. Right? Hey, we're thinking about buying a bigger house. What's wrong with the one you got? I want to hear them tell me why they have to move.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
Too many salespeople make assumptions. Great salespeople ask great questions, and great salespeople ask questions they already know the answer to. Because if you already know the answer, you want to make sure that you and them are on the same page. So you guys are on the same side of the fence. So ask questions you already know to get them to say, not only it's a yes pattern, all that sales BS, but most importantly, it helps build a relationship. So you guys are on the same page. So important.
If you can't think of what to say, just always say, tell me more. Just tell me more every time.
And this is something, it's like, I love how these masterminds go because it's so unorganized, but hopefully this is valuable for you guys. But what it's reminding me of is I hear agents all the time. I listen to my agents' calls. We're in role plays. The teams that I coach, I listen to their calls. And like the number one thing that people are missing in scripts is they're worrying about what should I say instead of what should I ask. So you have to ask great questions, but also the acknowledgments between the questions are where the conversation comes in. Because you got the best script on the planet, but if you don't have a great conversation, the script doesn't matter. And so we have to work on our questions and our acknowledgments. And if you do those two things and you just ask great questions, some of those questions could be, what else? Mm-hmm. But it's a question like, oh, thanks, Grant, for sharing that. What else? But you have to make that fluid. And I promise you, it helps make it more conversational. And as crazy as it sounds, you will stand out in the marketplace because so many salespeople don't do that.
One thing I learned years ago from Bob Corcoran, he says part of your sales track has got to be answer and ask or acknowledge and ask.
Yes,
but it always ends in ask because
Yep.
the person who's asking is in control and leading the conversation. So where I'm trying to take them is going to be a series of questions after I either answer their question partially or full or acknowledge their question and then ask a question.
I see. I'm going back through some of these. Thank you guys for in the chat. And Grant, I'm curious. I'm going to go to you. I'm curious your thoughts on this. I see someone in the chat when I asked, what is your fear? Their response was defending value. I'd like to unpack that a little. What are your thoughts?
Defending value. I think if you have enough knowledge and education about what's going on, how do you need to defend your value? You can articulate your value so many different ways just through pure education of your market, of what's going on in the industry, by asking the right questions. I guess I don't have a fear of defending our value because we're educated.
I want to add to that. Like my first reaction was, what are we defending? Don't be on defense, be on offense. Instead of defending your value, show your value, articulate your value. And that little subtle shift will make all the difference, because if you have that confidence in your value, you're not introducing the value like, oh my gosh, like a dog that's been beat, right? Like you're just scared to mention it because you've been told no over and over and over. And you feel like you're in a defensive state versus here's what I recommend you do because this is what's best for you, just like my other clients have done before. I think that subtlety will make a big difference. Jason, I see you shaking your head. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think so. With defending value, looking at it two ways. One, bring that value like we've already mentioned. But if you're talking to a client that is not understanding the value, one, look at yourself, because when you point that finger, you've got other fingers pointing back at you, right? So one, look at yourself. Are you articulating well of what that value prop is that you're bringing to a buyer or seller? Then if they're just not on the same page and maybe they're very negative and they're just not somebody you should work with, be okay to walk away. That's going to be huge, you guys. And go find somebody that is going to work with you and believe and follow the values that you have. And then that way you could have the clientele that makes you feel great every day. And then you love real estate even more.
Really good. Really good stuff. Holy cow. Big Mike just dropped whole novel of knowledge. You guys should go copy and paste that. Thank you, Mike. Great script. I don't believe it. So scripts, yes, I think they're necessary, but I think talk tracks are more important, right? It's the dialogue, it's the conversation. The script's just a part of that. I think, guys, and we got 13 minutes left. And so if you guys have questions, please ask. We're going to keep this going, but I want to hit you. If you have a question right now, you have no excuse not to ask it. We're here to answer it. So please ask any question that you have. Even if it's something you asked earlier that we kind of skimmed over, please let us know what that is. I'm curious, selfishly, I want to ask you geniuses a question so I can help improve my business and hopefully other people can learn from it. I think one of the value adds right now is having off-market properties. What are some strategies that you are doing or that you are coaching people through to help gather inventory of exclusives and then articulate that to a buyer in this new landscape of marketplace as a value add?
I can answer a simple way we're doing it is through new construction. I grew up in this business representing builders and doing developments. So we know the off-market properties. Most builders don't list all their properties in the MLS. So we know what they have. We know what their price ranges are, know the developments you have.
So I love that. If you have access to that, I got a personal question I'll ask you offline on that. Because we just got a big new development coming in. The builder does not work with agents. So I'm curious how we're going to handle that.
Neither does our builder.
Yeah. But literally they've forced us out of one in the past. But anyway, if you don't have builders, what do you do? If you don't have that as an option?
Man, everybody has access to builders. Drive around, look at their developments. You don't have to be the representative of them. Just know what their projects are.
Cool. Jason, what are your thoughts? Thanks,
I've built relationships over the years, whether it's with investors or you get emails, you get calls from, hey, I got off-market property. I've built relationships with those people calling. And so because you never know when this market shifts into this where, hey, I actually need them. And so I'm touching base. They drop me a lot of emails, but I'm looking at them. And so if I could take that information and move it over to a buyer, yay. And then look at our network, 90,000 agents to talk to. We've got different ways of like Zenlist to have off-market properties. We could put it on Zenlist. If you guys haven't found that, hit Workplace up, research it. It's awesome. But you could put off-market properties on there before it hits your MLS. So really cool. And now you've got out-of-state clientele possibly coming in to buy that house. So those are a couple of the methods I'm working with right now.
I love it. I love it. And those of you that several of us are with EXP here, this is an unbranded mastermind. So if you're not with EXP, there's other software out there. EXP has something that's internal that's amazing for it. It's called Zenlist, EXP exclusives, but there's other softwares. Raven is one. It's like an off-market MLS, or what we've even used. Just create a private Facebook group for your organization, if nothing else, and call it upcoming listings, right? Call it something that you house everything so that you know where that inventory is. Mike, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I could make a whole seminar on this one, but I'll go quick. I think you need to have an internal document that's like a Google Sheets that you share with your team, share with your ISA, share with your agents and your staff, that gets maintained and it gets scrubbed and kept clean the entire time. You'd start obviously with FSBOs. That's an easy one, but have a system of collecting FSBOs. You're going to have some FSBOs that are online. Zillow's obviously an easy one. You can have services like Vulcan 7 and various other ones like Land Voice that will feed you a list. But I used to pay my agents $5 for every FSBO address that they saw when they were driving around showing houses. Of course, that was back in the day, so you might have to up that to 15 or 20 bucks. But pay them $10, $20 to give you an address and a phone number from the sign they just drove by, and you'll be surprised how many of them were never on your list to start with. So now you've got a new FSBO in the neighborhood to add to your list. So if you got your couriers, your agents, and all your staff driving around getting gas money for bringing you FSBO addresses, that's a good place to start. Expireds and withdrawals, if you've talked to them and if they would sell but they don't want to list, that goes on your list.
Yes,
Home value leads that would sell but don't want to list goes on your list. Cash for homes leads that would sell but don't want to list their house goes on your list. You just start developing that list and just purge it and keep it clean all the time. Have a staff member go there and once a week and cross-reference it against actives or pendings in the MLS to make sure it hasn't just sold. You didn't know. Here's a big one. Join every real estate and off-market and wholesale Facebook group for your state and for your city on Facebook. You'd be surprised. If I was in Kansas City, I'd be typing in Kansas City wholesale, Kansas City off market, Kansas City real estate, Kansas City real estate investing, and just look for all those Facebook groups, join every single one of them, participate, look at the feeds and find properties that are for sale by wholesalers. You'll find tons of off market inventory that nobody knows about. Especially if you're working with an investor or someone who has the means to pay cash, that's an invaluable list. So
really good. So we've been housing this. I've been building this for about a year. And we went through trials and tribulations, but I just pulled mine up. We have 52 properties right now that we've met with the homeowner in person and they said they would consider selling. That's valuable. So we have the agent snaps a picture, just one, if nothing else, just an outside of the house, and we get an estimated value. That does two things. Number one, I agree with everything Mike said, right? You should add all of those in there. But I think this is even a higher caliber of that list because we met with them face to face. We showed them our value in our listing presentation, and they said, yes, if you have a buyer, I would be open to you coming and showing it. Now, when you have a buyer, because you're going to be working on the buyer side, and you have a buyer, you can dangle that carrot in front of them as a value. And then if it fits their criteria, I coach people their top 5 must-haves. So what are the top 5 must-haves in a home? We go through the questions that Mike went through and how he beautifully articulated that to make sure it's a must-have, it's a need, not a want. And then if it checks some of those boxes, we don't even tell them about the property. We just say, hey, we have 3 properties. Tomorrow afternoon, does 3 or 4 work better for you? We call them surprise showings. Now, not only does that get the buyer in the door, but also what does that do to that seller? That reinvigorates their thought of selling. Who are they going to list their home with? Right? Like, guys, this is a massive opportunity. If you just build a small system around it and you control that and you make sure it's clean and clear, like it's a massive value add. For those of you curious about the value, right there's massive value. Now add expireds and FSBOs and builders and all these other sources these gentlemen shared with you. You've got the list of why somebody should pay you to work with you.
What about buyers that you're working with that have a home to sell
100%.
that don't want to list because they haven't found a home yet? Right? I mean, we have an untapped number of different sources that you can add to this list. It just needs to be maintained. As long as you're maintaining that list, like think of all the buyers you're working with, 20, 30, 40, 50 different buyers. They're all just sort of looking. They all have a home to sell. Those homes need to go on your list.
100%. Really good. I got a couple other questions I want to get to. We got 5 minutes left. We have, as a newer agent, how do you compete with the veterans? How do you compete with the veteran agents in the areas of top teams and agents with a history or track record? Who wants to handle that one?
I'll tell you what we did 25 years ago when we were brand new. I drew a circle on a piece of paper for them, put pie slices on there and said, this is theirs. They have 8 people they're working with. This is mine. You're the only person I can pay attention to. You'll get all my service.
Love it.
From my side, I say be hungry. And just like what Grant said too, it's just, hey, I'm going to be there. I bring that value, what we talked about at the beginning, have that and say, I'm going to be honest. I'm going to work my butt off. I'm going to do everything I need to do for you and make sure I'm there for you. Who's not going to want that? So just come and be hungry.
Love it. Mike?
I mean, we could spend a while on this, but I'll just say be there, be present. More importantly, be there when they're ready to do something, which means there's a follow-up game involved.
Yep.
But being there, putting in the work, making the calls, making the touches, having the brand impressions, put retargeting in place on Facebook and Instagram so that you're always in front of those people. That's another way to be there. Direct mail, be there. Be in front of these people that are in your world so that when they're ready, you're there. Right? That's number one. Be there. Number two, be good. Like work on yourself, work on your skills. Like you can improve. It's going to take you 10,000 hours of mastery, equivalent of 4 years of full-time, 6-day-a-week work to become a master of something. Give yourself some grace. You're not going to be good overnight, right? But put in the work. Then be an expert about your market. Know your numbers, know it inside and out. That will help you be able to articulate value, and people will want to work with a market expert. And then number 4, and this is a marketing piece, is be different. Have something unique to say. Have something different to offer. You want to separate yourself from everyone else by not being a commodity. If you're the same as everyone else, then it doesn't matter who they pick. If you're different and you can articulate that in your marketing and your sales presentation, then you win.
Really good.
It can't just be I'm the umbrella lady or the hat guy or the purple Lamborghini guy. That's fine too. But have something that actually translates into some user value. Some consumer value.
And my simple answer to that is, because I did that, right? Like I came into a marketplace as a nobody, and built what we built. And it was I just built a reputation for I was willing to work harder than anyone else, and I got shit done. Everyone else just lollygags and does this, and like I became known as the guy for real estate. I didn't have knowledge. I remember my first listing appointment that I got at closing, my very first seller. I went there and he asked me about escrow. He's like, well, how does my escrow work? I just fumbled all over. I didn't have a clue. I didn't know what's escrow. This was like my number 40 something closing. I didn't know what escrow was, but I knew how to work. Right. And so like, I think that we use those things as I do this a lot. And I think it's called demonizing, right? You don't want to talk trash on competition, but you can also say what your model is and what their model is and how your model benefits their specific needs. Everyone's has an advantage. So ask great questions. What are they looking for? And then how do you solve what they're looking for? So if you're a team versus single agent, I believe teams are better. But if I was an independent agent, I'd have value props on why I'm better as an individual agent, why you don't need all this necessary stuff for teams. Right? It's like, how do you just unpack that to differentiate yourself and demonize the competition so that you can show that you solve the problem that they have? And when you really do that, you can look at those as a newer agent. You also don't have bad habits. I've got newer agents right now that I'm bringing in 2 new agents to my organization today. I love new agents. I love them. They don't have bad habits. I've got a new agent that he started 30 days ago. He's already had 1 closing. He's got 2 under contract. He's signed 8 buyers agencies in 30 days. No other agent on my team has signed 8 buyers agencies in the last 30 days, except for the brand new guy. Right? Like you can use it as an advantage, or you can use it as it's getting in the way. It's up to you. It's how you look. Let's go back to the beginning, what Jason said. It's about the mindset you look at it through. Guys, gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. We are out of time here. Thank you, guys. We had most of you stay here the whole time. Appreciate your input. Hope this was valuable for you. Just a reminder, we do these every single Monday. So tune in every single Monday, same time, same channel, different guests, different value. Please bring your questions, bring the things that you want to learn. And reminder, Backstage Pass. If you haven't got access to the Backstage Pass yet, that's where all the super secret stuff is. You get access to the commitment form. I'll upload there. We've got some other value proposition things from the amazing team leaders that have been in this Top Agent Nation Mastermind over the last several months, have all uploaded stuff there. So make sure you get access to that. If you want access, reach out to the person that invited you here today, and they will show you how to get access. And I guess if nothing else, we'll see you guys next week. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Thanks, guys.